Welcome to today's class. So this is our second class on excretion. So if you haven't watched our first class on excretion, be sure to see in the description below. I've put the link for the part 1. So in our part 2, we said that we'll be looking at the functional unit of the kidney, which is a nephron. So this diagram you are seeing here is a representation of a nephron. So at the end of the video, we are going to solve also this question on excretion, and I'll be showing you what to write in essay questions, because in biology they follow quality over quantity. You can write 3 pages and still get 2 out of 6. So stick through so that you understand well how to solve essays and also section B. So before I start, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share the video to your friends who may be in need of this topic. Yeah. So to begin, we are going to first label and understand the structure of a nephron. So remember, in our previous video, we looked at the kidney. So the kidney looks like this. So remember, I told you that the kidney basically has two arteries. We have one artery which takes blood out, and we also have another blood vessel which brings blood to the kidney. So this vessel which brings blood to the kidney, we say that it is known as the renal artery. Then we say that the blood vessels which takes out deoxygenated blood away from the kidney is known as the renal vein. Then we say that we also have another structure which takes urine from the kidney to the bladder, which is known as the ureter. So these were the 3 structures which we looked at when we discussed the structure of the kidney. So in today's video, we are going to be looking at now the functional unit of the kidney. So the structure today we are going to be looking at is inside the kidney. So we have a lot of nephrons inside the kidney. So I'll just take one and do zoom in. So this diagram now I will draw here will be the structure of a nephron. Now, so you need to pay particular attention as we are labeling the structure of of a nephron, because a lot of questions come on on the structure of a nephron. Remember, we are talking about excretion here, how our body get rid of metabolic waste. Yeah. So this is now the diagram which represents a enlargement of the nephron. So now this is the structure which allows the kidney to perform its function. So now we are going to label its structure and understand how its structure contributes to the function. So the first part the first part which you will see on a nephron is a part of a blood vessel, and it is known as the afferent end. Then it also has a second part which is known as the efferent end. So what these two blood vessels basically do is, one end, which is known as the afferent end, it is the one which brings blood to the what? To the glomerular filtrate for filtration. Then the efferent end is the one which carries now the filtered blood. So remember, this part carries the filtered blood, while the afferent end brings what? Unfiltered blood to the kidney. So these are the two structures of a kidney. Then the second structure which you need to know is this one, which is known as the Bowman capsule. So this structure is the one which contains what is known as the glomerular filtrate. So the glomerular filtrate basically is the one which filter blood which comes into the kidney. Then after the blood is filtered, those filtered material goes to the renal tubule, which is this tube you are seeing, which is starting from the Bowman's capsule until it reaches the collecting duct. So we say that the third structure is the Bowman's capsule. It has the glomerular filtrate. Then we also have a tubule which starts from the Bowman's capsule. Then this part is where you have to understand and pay particular attention, because this tubule has 3 parts which I'm going to explain to you. So the first part is known as the convolution. So why is it called the convolution? Because it is entangled with what? Blood vessels. This is the part which is entangled with blood vessels. So whenever you see a part entangled with a blood vessels, just know that it is convolution. So these are the 2 parts. So how can we name? So for naming, you just have to say, since we say that it is convoluted, it is entangled with what? Blood vessels. This part, since it is the first part and it is closer to what? To the Bowman's capsule, we call it the first proximal convoluted tubule. So I've basically explained why it is called. So I've basically explained why this part is called the first proximal convoluted tubule. So for you to understand and remember the name, you have to know where it is coming from, because if you understand where the name is coming from, you won't forget. So we said that it is first because it is what? Near to the what? And it is the first part of the kidney which is entangled with blood vessels. Remember, we have 2 parts. We also have this part. So we said that it's the first because it comes first. Then we said that it is proximal because it is near to the Bowman's capsule, this part. Then we said it is convoluted because it is entangled with the blood vessels. So this is what you need to understand. Then, since if this is the first, meaning this will be the what? The second. This will be the second distal convoluted tube. So why is it this called the second distal but not the second proximal? This is because the word distal means it is far. So it is further away from what? The Bowman's capsule. So that's why it is called distal. Then whenever you hear the word proximal, just remember that it is near. So that's how you name the two structures. Then we also have this part here, which is known as the root of Henle. Then the final part of the nephron is what is known as the collecting duct. So what the collecting duct do is basically it collects now all those waste metabolic products and excrete them via the urethra and the gallbladder. So this is the structure of a nephron. So now that we have talked and understood how a nephron looks like, we are going to look at now how the kidney works. So whenever we are talking about how the kidney works, you should be thinking about a nephron. So how does the kidney work? So we know that the kidney, when it is an excretory organ, meaning when it's working for excretion, it excretes what? Urine. So whenever we are talking about the function, meaning we are talking about how the kidney forms urine. So that's our subtopic, how the kidney forms urine. So here, this part is where now you understand why sometimes urine comes yellow and why sometimes urine comes what? White. So this is the part which you need to pay particular attention for your essay part. So basically the kidney works in 4 stages for it to create what? Urine. So the 4 stages which the kidney undergoes are ultrafiltration. Then second we have selective reabsorption. Then third we have osmoregulation. Then last we have secretion. So these are the 4 processes which the kidney performs for it to form what? Urine. So in the next 5 minutes, we are going to look at each stage in details because this is what they ask in the essay part. Like this question we have here, it came. So here they said, describe the process of excretion in human being. So whenever you are describing the process of excretion in human being, you have to write all the 4 stages of urine formation. So to begin, we'll begin with what is ultrafiltration. So we'll say ultrafiltration. So by the name itself, it suggests that here something is what? Being filtered. So whenever you're talking about ultrafiltration, this is the process of filtration of smaller what? Molecules like water, mineral salt, glucose and urea from what? From the Bowman's capsule. So remember I told you that whenever you're talking about the process of urine formation, you have to be referring to the what? To the nephron. So whenever we are talking about ultrafiltration, you have to know first where it is taking place. So ultrafiltration takes place where? In the Bowman's capsule. So this part is where ultrafiltration takes place. So we said that this is the process of filtration of smaller molecules like water, glucose, urea, and mineral salt. Yeah. So here, what you need to remember on the definition is what? You have to remember the products which are filtered. That's the important part. So remember, in your essay, you have to include water, glucose, urea, and mineral salt. So now we say that this is the filtration. Now, how does the filtration come about? So the filtration comes about because when you look at the nephron, we said that it has two parts. We have the afferent end, which brings blood, and we also have the efferent ends, which takes blood. So the efferent end of a blood vessel is what? Wider than the afferent end. So meaning blood coming to the kidney will have high pressure. So whenever blood comes to the kidney with high pressure, it will cause what? Fluid to move out of the blood vessels, therefore causing filtration. So that's what you need to know. So this filtration process is because of the pressure at the afferent end. Yeah. So we say that at the Bowman's capsule, that's where ultrafiltration takes place. So we said that molecules which pass are water, glucose, and urea. And when you talk about filtration, we know that some material or some substances should remain on the filter. So now in our case, what are the molecules which do not close the filtration in the Bowman's capsule? So we have two molecules which do not close, and these molecules are, we have red blood cells and blood plasma proteins. So these are the two things which remains on the filter because they are too big to do what? To close. Because we say that filtration, we separate what? Smaller molecules or insoluble substance from a soluble substance, where we say that the soluble substance will remain on the filter. So in this case, red blood cells and plasma proteins remains on the what? On the filtrate. Yeah. Then this is how ultrafiltration takes place. And remember, I told you what you need to know are the products. So here they can ask you the question. Maybe they bring the same diagram and they say which substances are present at the first proximal convoluted tubule, which were in the Bowman's capsule. So you have to know that at this proximal convoluted tube, there are no red blood cells and plasma proteins in this tubule because they remain in the Bowman's capsule on the filtrate. So next process we are going to discuss is selective reabsorption. So this is the process now where useful nutrients are reabsorbed back to the what? To the blood vessel. Okay, so moving on to our second stage, which is selective reabsorption. So I said selective reabsorption. This is the process of reabsorbing of useful substance. Yeah, remember we said that the substances which close the Bowman's capsule were urea, water, salt, and glucose. So, what are the useful substances that will be reabsorbed in selective reabsorption? Because the name says selective, meaning it will only allow some substances, some won't be allowed because it is selective. So, since we said that ultrafiltration takes place in the Bowman's capsule, meaning selective reabsorption should take place in the convoluted part, because that's where the tubule is entangled with the blood vessels. Remember, these substances should go back into the blood circulation. So that brings us to our next point, which is the location. So selective reabsorption occurs in the convoluted tubules, meaning the first and second convoluted tubule. That's where selective reabsorption takes place. So what are the substances now which are reabsorbed? So at the first convoluted tubule, we have all the glucose which were filtered is reabsorbed back into the bloodstream, because glucose is very important for our body. We know that glucose, that's where respiration comes from. So glucose is important. That's why all the glucose is reabsorbed at the first convoluted tube. So you say all glucose and what? Some water and some salt. Yeah. So remember the function of the kidney. We said that it excretes what? Urine. And urine contains what? Excess water, salt, urea. So here, because we are excreting water, we want to absorb the entire water, because we have to leave some. So here what is absorbed is just glucose. Again, here they can ask you a question to say which substance is present at the first, which is not present at the second. It's glucose, because we say that here glucose, all the glucose will be reabsorbed. Then when we talk about the second convoluted tubule, what are absorbed? So here, just using our common sense, we can see that since all the glucose has been reabsorbed, meaning we only remain with water and mineral salt. So meaning at the second convoluted tubule, what will be absorbed is just some water and some salt. Yeah. So this is the second stage of the kidney now making what? Urine. So remember, we started with the ultrafiltration, where red blood cells and blood plasma remained. Then we came to the first proximal convoluted tube, where glucose remained. Then we just remained with water, salt, and urea in our tubule, which means our urine is now formed. Yeah. Then after it has been after it has been, or after it has passed selective reabsorption, the next stage now is osmoregulation. So osmoregulation, this is now where the brain will decide if the urine will come out what? Yellow, or if the urine will come out what? White. So you will see in the next minutes why the urine now comes out yellow and white. Moving on to our third stage in urine formation, which is osmoregulation. So whenever we are talking about osmoregulation, we are talking about how now the kidney function as homeostasis, how the kidney maintains the internal environment. So we said that the kidney has no brain, so the kidney cannot think. So the kidney only receives what? Instructions. So whenever there are no instruction, of course the kidney will proceed to excreting excess water. But here is where the problem comes in. When you have little water in your body, if the kidney is excreting excess water, meaning you will be dehydrated and you have all sorts of problems. So that's where now osmoregulation comes in. That's where now the brain signals the kidney to stop excreting excess water and start reabsorbing it. So that's the osmoregulation. So we said that osmoregulation, this is the maintenance of water inside human beings. Yeah. So osmoregulation, in case you forget the definition, just remember from osmo. So whenever I'm talking about osmo, means water. Osmosis, the movement of water. Osmoregulation, the regulation of water. Yeah. So now we said that the brain controls the kidney. Now, how does the brain controls the kidney? So the brain has a part known as the pituitary. Yeah. So the brain has a part which is known as the pituitary gland. So the pituitary gland circulates or secretes a hormone which is known as the antidiuretic hormone. So what does this hormone do? So by the name itself, it is antidiuretic. And when you look at the word diuretics, it means you increase the amount of urine excretion. So if it is anti, meaning it is against the excretion of urine. So that's why it is produced, so that it can stop the kidney from excreting excessive water. So this is how you write in your essay. So you say the pituitary gland secretes what? You said that it secretes a hormone called antidiuretic hormone. Or so this hormone, sometimes they may not bring antidiuretic, they may also bring what? Vasopressin. So don't get confused when they bring the word vasopressin. So vasopressin and antidiuretic hormone are one and the same thing. So once this antidiuretic hormone is released, it will go to the what? To the kidney. Which part of the kidney? The collecting duct. Why is it going to the collecting duct? because the previous stage have showed you where they start from. So meaning our urine now has reached the collecting duct now. So that's where now urine will be either reabsorbed or excreted. So we say that once urine reaches what? The collecting duct, the brain now will decide based on the amount of water in our body. So we said that if we have what? Low water levels, the pituitary gland does what? Secretes a hormone called antidiuretics, and this hormone now acts on the collecting duct. So what it do to the collecting duct, it allows now water to be reabsorbed back into the blood vessels. So whenever water is reabsorbed back to the vessel, meaning the urine you excrete will be very much concentrated. Why? Because it will only contain mineral salt, urea, and what? Yeah, just mineral salt and urea and some small amount of water. That's why urine will come what? Yellow, because there are not a lot of water. So whenever you urinate and you see your urine is yellow, just know that your body is telling you that you need water in your body. So that's the process of osmoregulation. Then when the water levels are normal, of course the hormone won't be released. It will just allow the kidney to do its function. Yeah. So this is how you write in your exam. If low water levels in the body, the pituitary gland secretes what? A hormone called antidiuretics, which acts on the collecting duct by allowing water to be reabsorbed from the glomerular filtrate into the bloodstream. Yeah, so most of you are wondering what it means when we say glomerular filtrate. So glomerular filtrate, this is a substance that passes the glomerular filter. So we said that the substances which crosses the glomerular filtrate are just glucose, urea, excess salt, and water. Yeah. So this fluid which is found in this tube until the collecting duct, it is known as the glomerular filtrate, including the urine. The urine is the glomerular filtrate because does it pass the what? The filter. Then we say that what remains on the filter is the residue. So now this is how the body maintains osmoregulation, and this is what causes the urine to come out yellow. Then when you have excess water in your body, your urine will be excreted white because there is a lot of water, and the kidney will try to excrete a lot again so that it maintains the constant water. Then the final part of urine formation is simple, which is just secretion. So whenever we're talking about secretion, this is just the what? The removal now of urine, which contains what? Some water we have mineral salt, some mineral salt, and we also have urea. Yeah, so this is how you should do right whenever you are given an essay question on osmoregulation. Don't worry, we'll try to solve two questions on excretion. One which will cover what? The section B part, and the other one covering the essay part. So the one which will cover the essay part, I'll show you what key terms which you should never forget whenever you are writing a biology essay. Yeah, so to summarize what we have discussed here, we started by looking at the structure of a nephron, where we understood what it means by the afferent end and the efferent end, also what it means by proximal convoluted tubule. And we also looked at the process of how urine is formed. We said that the first process happens in the Bowman's capsule, which is ultrafiltration, where small molecules are filtered and large molecules remains in the Bowman's capsule. Then we said that when the glomerular filtrate, the fluid which has passed the filter, reaches the first proximal tubule, all the glucose will be reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. Then when we said that when it reaches again the second convoluted tubule, this is where now some water and somewhat mineral salt will be reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. Then we said that now once urine has reached the what? The collecting duct. Here now the brain is where it will decide how the urine should come out depending on water levels in your body. If you have low, the urine will come concentrated, meaning it will come yellow. Then whenever you have a lot of water, it will come diluted, meaning it will come white. Yeah. Then we talked about the final part, which is the secretion, where now the urine is excreted from the collecting duct into the ureter, then into the bladder, where it is temporarily stored. Then whenever it is time to release, then you go and excrete your urine. Then there is one part which we need to discuss under the urinary system. Those two muscles I mentioned, the sphincters. So remember in the previous video I explained the function. So even here in the process, if you want to write the full, but once you write this, meaning you can get full marks. Biology is not about the quantity but about the quality. You can write 2 pages but still get what? Less marks. So you need to know what to put in your questions or what to put in your answers for you to score marks. So this is where our second and conclusion of excretion topic is. So in the next video on excretion, it will be basically the revision video where we'll solve questions on excretion, and we also look at how we can answer essay questions on excretion, and we'll also look at some disorders which can happen to the kidney and how you can treat them. But for now, just know that the treatment for kidney is we have one, kidney transplant, and dialysis machine. Yeah, so these are the two treatments which you can undergo whenever you have kidney failure. Yeah, so what they like bringing under the treatment is mostly the dialysis machine, because they know that some students get confused. So in the next video, be sure to also watch it and understand how the dialysis machine works in case it comes, because the dialysis machine works similar to the nephron. So you need to understand how these two are connected and how doctors use the dialysis machine to mimic or imitate what the function of the nephron. So don't forget to subscribe, comment and share to your friends.